Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our topic today is renunciation, one of the most important, I couldn't even say important actually, inherent topics of Vedanta, of religion, is this concept of renunciation. Unfortunately, also the most misunderstood concept, but renunciation is Vedanta, is religion. Without renunciation, it's a paper rose. It is renunciation that is the beauty of any religion, of Vedanta, of philosophy. So it's crucial for us to understand what is renunciation. If we don't understand renunciation, no problem. But if we misunderstand it, we can wreck our lives as well as other people's lives. So we have to be extremely careful about this, our concept, our understanding of renunciation. It has wrecked many families, it has wrecked many people. Just a simple misunderstanding of what renunciation is all about. So if you examine the concept of renunciation, the first idea you get when you hear the term renunciation, you hear vairagya, you hear renunciation, what is the first idea we get? That renunciation must mean no contact with something. You don't contact the world. You don't go anywhere near a world. No question of going to a film or a mall. That's terrible. You must be a renunciate. If you found a so-called spiritual person, if you found a Swami in a mall, you'd say, oh my God, he's come to a mall. If you find him in a restaurant, you say, oh, he comes to a restaurant. This is surprising. Because our concept of renunciation is that a person who's a renunciate does not contact the world. If it be true that renunciation means no contact with the world, then it must mean that renunciation is an impractical thing. Religion is an impractical thing. It is not meant for everybody. But all religions claim to be for everybody. Vedanta says it's for everybody. Then how can renunciation be no contact with the world? What is this no contact with the world? Are we supposed to go away? Go away where? And if we all go away, wherever we all go, that will become the world, right? If we all go to the Himalayas, then Himalaya will become Mumbai, will become Delhi. What does this mean, go away from the world? Go where? Go to the moon? Where are you supposed to go? Whether you like it or not, you live in the world. We all just live in the world. Contact with the world is. That's it. You don't have an option. You live in the world. Obviously, nobody and nothing, no wise person would be so stupid as to tell us, do not contact the world. It doesn't make sense. If I don't live in the world, where am I supposed to live? And if it's for everybody, then where are we all supposed to go? If we're all supposed to leave Mumbai, New Delhi, New York, where are we supposed to go? And wherever we go, then that becomes our world. So, our first concept of renunciation is that it means no contact with the world. This is obviously not correct. So, then you move on and say, okay, if it means you can contact the world, then obviously you can stay here, don't worry, you don't have to go off to the Himalayas or wherever else it is, you can stay here, but there should be no individual possession or enjoyment. You can stay in Mumbai, you can stay in Delhi, you can stay in New York, but you can't possess things and you cannot enjoy them. Now, wouldn't that be slightly silly? It it's a strange thing, of course, that if you examine scriptural literature on this point, you see all these examples of people of great renunciation. And one of the persons highlighted in the Indian scriptures on renunciation is the character of King Janaka. Janaka is supposed to be an epitome of renunciation, but he's a king. He lived in the palace. He didn't live like an ascetic in the palace, he lived like a king in the palace. He had all those possessions, he had all those enjoyments, and he is given to us as a picture of renunciation. So that doesn't really make sense. Why should you not have individual possession and enjoyment? And if you say you can stay in the world, but you cannot enjoy anything of the world, would it not just frustrate people? You can go to the mall, but be careful, don't buy anything there. You can go to a restaurant, but don't eat anything there. So wouldn't it be rather frustrating for people if this philosophy allowed you to contact it, but not possess it or enjoy it? So obviously that seems a little silly too. So then we move on and we say, okay, so you can live in the world, you can possess and enjoy objects in the world. Then what is renunciation? Obviously, you can enjoy, you can possess, you can enjoy, but don't do too much of it, okay? Just restrict yourself a bit. A certain amount is okay. Too much is not good. Too much wealth is not good. Too much this is not good. Too much power is not good. Too much power ruins you. Too much wealth ruins you. We have all these concepts floating around. So you can be in the world, you can enjoy things of the world, but watch it, don't do too much. Well, this is a little strange. I don't know if you find it strange when you hear. What does this mean, don't do too much? Who fixes the limits? Who says so much is enough and no more? Who says that it's okay to have a Maruti 800? Who put that limit? No, it's okay up to a Merc. Who put that limit? How do you put limits? Is it not true that what is a necessity for one person is a luxury for another person? A doctor may need a car. He has to get to his patients when there's some emergency, right? A peon may not need a car. Depends. Different people need different things. How can we set limits? And if we could set limits, why would we learn philosophy? We have to just print out lists. This is your height, this is your weight, so many gulab jamuns allowed, so many Toblerones allowed. This is ridiculous. We are making a mockery of the whole religious program. It is not that there is some kind of restriction in our enjoyments. And this is beautifully highlighted in a story that is given out, a very interesting story on Lord Krishna. The story goes that the sage Durvasa had come to the other side of the river Yamuna and he had encamped there. So the wives of Lord Krishna, you know Lord Krishna had over 16,000 wives. So the wives of Lord Krishna went to Lord Krishna and told him, the sage Durvasa is on the other side of the Yamuna, we would like to go and pay our respects. So Krishna said, of course, sure, please go. So they went across, they were going. Now you understand, these 16,000 odd wives are going to pay respects to the sage. And when you go to meet a sage, you don't go empty-handed. Not if you're the queen at least. And so these 16,000 odd queens carried trays and trays of food and gifts for the sage. And they went up to the river Yamuna to cross, to go to the other side, but the Yamuna was on flood, it was on spate, so they couldn't cross. So they went back to Krishna and said, can't cross the river, please do something. So Krishna, who's always mischievous, told them, don't worry, that's not a problem, you go up to Yamuna, you go up to the river and say, hey Mate Yamune, if sage Durvasa is a Nitya Upavasi, a person eternally fasting. Open up and let us pass. So the story goes, they go to the river, they say to the river, hey Mate Yamune, if sage Durvasa is a Nitya Upavasi, a person who's on a permanent fast, open up and let us pass. And miraculously, the river opens up and all 16,000 cross over bearing over 16,000 trays of food and cross over to Durvasa on the other side. And they present those trays to him and he eats it all. It takes him up to evening, so it's evening now and they have to come back. The river is in spate again. So they go back to Sage Durvasa and they say to him, oh Maharaj, help us. It is evening time. We women have to go home now. But the river is in spate. We can't cross. So Durvasa apparently tells them, don't worry, O queens, go to the river and say, hey Mate Yamune, if Krishna is a Nitya Brahmachari, open up and let us pass. Nitya Brahmachari means an eternal celibate. If Krishna is a Nitya Brahmachari, open up and let us pass. So the story goes, these 16,000 wives of Krishna go up to the river and say to her, hey Mate Yamune, if Krishna is a Nitya Brahmachari, a perpetual celibate, open up and let us pass. And the story goes, the river miraculously opens up and they cross over and they go back. An apparently foolish story. What do you mean? Nitya Brahmachari, he has 16,000 wives. Nitya Upavasi, he ate 16,000 trays of food. It's apparently silly story, but it has a deep allegorical significance. It only is trying to tell us this thing, that quantum does not determine renunciation. Quantum does not determine renunciation. How much is not something that is within the gambit of renunciation. You can have a lot and be a renounced person. You can have nothing and be a person not of renunciation. And there's a very nice incident, that actually is a real incident. There was a man who lived up in the Himalayas for almost 25 years. He stayed in the Himalayas. And then for whatever reason, he had to one day go back to his hometown in Kerala. So after 25 years, he leaves Himalayas. With what could his possessions be in the Himalayas? What could he have? He had one little pottery to take with him. So he comes down from the Himalayas, he's come to Delhi railway station, and he hollers out for a porter to carry his bag. Not a very big bag. So the porter comes to pick it up, and then he sees a Sethji with wife and children, obviously loads more luggage. So he drops the sannyasi's bag and runs off to the Sethji to pick up their bags. And this throws that sannyasi into a fury. How can you drop mine and take his? You can live in the Himalayas for 25 years and have no possessions and still not be a renunciate. Amazing it is. You can have 16,000 wives and be a renunciate. You can eat 16,000 trays of food, an absurd thing, and still be a renunciate. So quantum has got nothing whatsoever to do with renunciation. So you can live in the world, you can possess in the world, you can enjoy in the world, it is unrestricted enjoyment of the world. Then what, you must be wondering, is renunciation? Where does renunciation fit into any of this? Now this is why it is crucial to understand that concept. Renunciation has not got to do with possessions, it's not got to do with quantum of possessions. Renunciation has to do with the value that we hold for those possessions. when we give an exaggerated black market value to things, we are known as materialistic people. When we give the correct value to things, you understand the value of something. This is renunciation. Renunciation is nothing but understanding the true value of something. Now, if this is a little abstruse, let us take our own experiences in life. We are all adults, we are all grown up, and we are all renounced from our erstwhile toys. We all played with toys as children, and now we no longer have any interest in them. We are all renounced as far as that toy world is concerned. Now examine carefully that when we say renounce with reference to the toy world, what do we mean? Do we mean that we never contact it? Certainly not. If there are children, would you not be able to play with them? Of course you can contact it. Would you not be able to possess it? No, you could possess them too. Could you enjoy them? Yes, you could enjoy them too. Enjoy them, contact them, experience them, enjoy them. Of course you can. Is there some restriction on the number of toys you can keep in your house? Do you have any restriction? No. As a person of renunciation, there is no restriction on you. You can have any amount of toys. Then what makes you renounced with reference to those toys? It is that you are able to give those toys the right value. You understand their importance in life. You do not give it exaggerated value in life. This capacity which we have to give something the right value, not too much, not too little, this is renunciation. When I give material objects an exaggerated value, I believe it to be the be-all, the end-all of existence, I am known as a materialistic person. When I believe sense objects to have an exaggerated value, enjoyments to have an exaggerated value, I think enjoying is the be-all and end-all of existence, such a person is known as a sensualist. So a materialistic person or a sensual person is not a person who has or does not have, but one who believes in an exaggerated importance in these things. He is not able to give these things the right value in life. Once we learn to give things the right value in life, you are a renounced person. It is just that simple. It is described in the Shastras in various ways. In the Tamil Shastras, they call it Tungamal Tungi, sleeping without sleeping. The Latin phrase talks about hasten slowly. Sattva is described as a state of disinterested interest. If you have no interest in it, that's the lowest state, tamasic, indolent state. If you have interest in something and you're carried away with that interest, this is the rajasic state, the second level. To be interested in a disinterested way, this is the sattvic state, the state of renunciation. So as we grow up in life, what is this growing up? The whole point of maturity is nothing but our recognizing things for what they are, giving them the right value, the right importance. This is very simply the state of renunciation. We achieve the state of renunciation, or the state of renunciation really is a state where we do not have an overwhelming desire for that object. And since we don't have an overwhelming desire for that object, we are able to see the object as it is. A person, a girl loves a boy. If there is an overwhelming desire to get married to this person, she cannot see him for what he is. She will have to wait for after marriage to find out what he really is. Right? So whenever there is an overwhelming desire, we seem to lose our capacity to tell things for what they are. Why are there so many failed relationships? We cannot seem to see things when we are overwhelmed with desire. So when we are overwhelmed with desire for any objects in this world, we are not able to correctly assess their inherent value. We are materialistic, sensual people. When we are not overwhelmed with that value, we correctly understand it, we are renunciates. It is really that simple. And when we give it this right value in life, we become a religious person, we become a philosophical person, we become a calm person, become a balanced person, we begin to enjoy every facet of life. It's a very strange thing that most people believe that yoga means spiritual practices, and bhoga are two contrary and opposed things. The truth of the matter is that yoga is equal to bhoga. The more you can do yoga, the more renounced you are, the more you will enjoy everything. A renounced person finds joy in everything because he's not giving anything exaggerated importance. He's able to enjoy everything. If you give him ice cream, he's able to enjoy that. If you take away the ice cream, he's able to enjoy whatever is left. There is no problem in his life. The problem is only in our life, because we are so full with desires and the world is constantly interrupting these desires, and we are constantly believing that there's some problem somewhere. A renunciate enjoys on two counts. Firstly, enjoys whatever there is. He doesn't have any particular preference. Whatever it is, he enjoys. Not only that, it's another very strange phenomenon in a materialistic and sensual person is that when you give them an enjoyment of their choice, they actually enjoy it less than the person of renunciation. And you may say, that's strange, why would they be enjoying it any less? For any enjoyment to take place, what is the mechanism? The object must be there. The stimuli enters from our senses and reaches our mind. When the mind is completely available, the object is there, the senses are completely available, and the mind is completely there, the enjoyment is complete. But when we are desire-ridden, very materialistic, very sensual, what happens? Mind is never completely available. With the consequence that even if he has got something which he wants so much, enjoyment is less. But a renunciate, whatever he does, his mind is fully there. He's always available for that thing. So everything for him becomes an enjoyment. He's capable of enjoying everything. So he is a happy person. A renunciate is a happy person. The yoga is equal to bhoga. Not only that, a renunciate is capable of achieving things. We are not capable of achieving things because our mind is running here and there all the time. Instead of concentrating on what we have to do, the mind, full of its desires, is dashing here and there. So when we work, our work is not to our full capacity. Mind is not available for that work. I'm thinking of the fight I had with my spouse. I'm thinking about what I'm going to get out of this. I'm thinking what my neighbor is doing. So many things are in my head. So my mind is not available for my work. But a renunciate is someone capable of much larger quantities of work and much more effective work because his mind is available to the work. So a renunciate is an achiever in life. And a person who can practice, who is a man of renunciation, is a man who can achieve something in this world. He becomes a happy person, he enjoys everything, plus he is much more of an achiever. Also, renunciation is the path to self-realization. We start, all of us, full of our desires, full of our values, whatever they be. We practice the 4 yogas. We come to the state of renunciation. Once we come to the state of renunciation, we will then be able to pursue the path of meditation, and meditation will finally take us to the goal of self-realization. So reaching that stage of renunciation is crucial for us to meditate and thereby realize the self. But the great part about reaching this stage is that you become completely happy while you're there. You're able to achieve a lot more in this world, and you're also well on your path towards your real journey of life, which is the path to self-realization. So therefore, renunciation is considered the very fulcrum on which this whole thing is based. And what is renunciation? Nothing but the recognition of the true value of something. Once you're able to see that, the true value of something, you're a renounced person, you're a happy person, you're an achiever, and you're very close to self-realization. Thank you.